what's up? I'm Chris from TMTRD, and you're about to watch a podcast with a volunteer named Scott. I forgot to introduce him. We just started talking. And also, at about 28 minutes in, the camera shut off. I'm still trying to figure this out, so I'm going to have to Google what went wrong. So it's going to end at 28 minutes, and then we're going to pick up and just wrap it up at the end. So hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Oh. You can crack your neck pretty easy. That's nice. You ever go to a chiropractor?
No, I think they're... I mean, again, I haven't been to one personally, but
yeah,
I feel like they're fake.
It's, I think that, I don't think there's any benefit. I used to go to one when I worked at Whole Foods. We had like this, they would put this money on this credit card that could only be used for like medical stuff. So I would go to a chiropractor just to get my neck cracked and my back cracked, And then what everybody would do also when they were leaving Whole Foods is that it was like a flex spending. It was like a Visa card, but it only worked for like prescriptions, co-payments, but it worked at Lens Crafters. So everybody would like
get sunglasses.
Yeah, because you have like a couple $1,000 on it if you work there for a few years. So everybody buys like Ray-Bans and shit,
I miss in high school the desks that we used to have, the chairs that had the built-in desks. They were the best for cracking your back. You could grab it, twist around, and get your whole back up.
I can never crack my back on my own.
It's the best.
And I used to be able to do my neck, but now that I'm older, it's like more stiff. Every now and then I get lucky.
I wasn't anticipating Thai massages to include cracking things, but they do like your hips where they have your arm going out that way, and then they pull your hips back.
Yeah.
Or they push your shoulder forward, I should say.
Yeah.
And then one lady was doing all my fingers, which, I don't know. I do it myself, so.
Yeah. Yeah, the Thai massage, I get those sometimes. Sometimes it's too, because I'm pretty stiff, and like when they do I like the Thai massage, but I get nervous. It's a little painful when they do like the forearm bone, like in the inner thigh.
Okay.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah, well, I imagine there's definitely different spots on different people, because I liked everything that they did on my arms, and again, my first professional massage ever. I've got nothing to compare it to back home, but I liked everything they did on my arms, my legs, but my neck and my shoulders I thought was like terror. I was like trying not to tap out to the old Thai lady. I felt like she was trying to break me.
People ask when they come here, they say like, what about massage? Because they hear certain things, about the massage shops. And like you can walk down the street and there might be a massage shop that has a lot of young ladies out front with the massage menu, and they're like, massage, And then you can find a shop where they're like, I always say, find the old lady. You know what I mean? Look for the old ladies. They're going to give you a really good massage.
Been doing it a long time.
Yeah. And what brought you to Thailand? We talked a little bit before. I know you didn't really travel.
Yeah, no, I've never left the country. I travel mostly up and down the East Coast for work, all over the United States, but well, mostly on the East Coast. But I've been all over the United States. But usually into the middle of nowhere, and I don't get to enjoy anything. I'm not there to enjoy it. I'm there to work and make money, but I'm staying at usually in a hotel in the middle of nowhere, not doing anything. But I've wanted to for a long time, like everyone, travel, kind of see some stuff, and Thailand was, for whatever reason, on my list. I really want to see elephants before I leave, but I know that there's a lot of places, like even in America, I have anxiety about going to zoos. Like, I love to see animals that I'd never get a chance to see, but at the same time, you've got what kind of life is this?
Right.
And for a lot of them, I know a lot of zoos are based on, their money goes towards rehabilitating animals and releasing them if they can, and if not, giving them, at least somewhat of a life and medical treatment and care. But it's still, it sucks to see something in a cage one way or another. But there's also the innate desire to see those things. But out here, I know that there's a lot of like elephant shows where they let people ride on the elephants, and the stuff that I guess isn't good for them. So I'd like to see I know there's like nature preserves where you can just go and observe them. So if I could do that, that would be really cool.
Elephant Nature Park up in Chiang Mai is founded by this lady, Lek, and it has the best reputation as the most ethical place.
Awesome.
Like you're not riding elephants, you're kind of just observing them. And they have dogs there and water buffalo, and she's incredible. I went there with Michael once when I was a volunteer, so in 2018, and it was unbelievable.
Really?
So you have to there are some ethical places. That's probably the best. But yeah, there's also like, I remember a long time ago I saw, I knew a girl that came to Thailand. She posted a picture of her and a tiger. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy, that's so cool, And then little bit of research, they're all freaking drugged, man.
Yeah.
They're all high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure you saw the Tiger King when it came out in COVID, blazed through the country. It was
absolutely.
Yeah, but following that, like when that kind of brought, as silly as it is, awareness to that on dating profiles like Tinder or Bumble, you see it everywhere. Girls holding baby tigers, and it's like partially. Where are all these people going? That like I'm not going. Where are these baby tigers? Everyone's leaving the country. Everyone I'm swiping on's been somewhere. But yeah, it brought light to that, and then you see it everywhere, and you're like, oh wow, it really is like. You can see why in a place like this it would be a booming market, because it brings people in. Like clearly, all these Americans are coming to take pictures holding a baby tiger, so they're gonna pay for it. I mean, it's like anything else. There's a market for it. But yeah, I don't know. This was on my list. I actually started planning a trip to come out here last year, like a vacation, and I was looking at the package deals and look to go by myself, just because I kind of do everything by myself for the most part. But the package deals for a vacation for like a 10 or 12 day, it was like $6,000 or $7,000. It made sense to go with someone. It was like cheaper, a little more expensive, but you get to split it. But I just didn't want to do that. And then this year, for whatever reason, earlier, maybe on schedule, midlife crisis kind of thing, and that just kind of threw my hands up about work and started wondering what the hell I'm doing, why I'm working so much, and what do I do with the money I'm making? I'm working for who? I don't have any kids to raise. Realistically, I don't have much responsibility, which is how I designed my life, to not have that, so I can kind of be free. But then I'm like, what am I doing with it? So it was as simple as that. I got fed up working. I quit my job. I was sitting around for a couple weeks and I was trying to stay active. I was doing well. I was staying busy. I was getting projects done at home. I was taking care of stuff that I've needed to take care of since I've been working on the road for quite a while. And then it popped into my head, like there's a guy in my neighborhood that owns some properties in Thailand that he rents, and he was talking to my dad, and my dad mentioned that Thailand was in my head, and the guy's like, oh, you should just go. It's like the friendliest place in the world. And we ran into him when I was walking my dogs one day, and I was like, hey, you think I could just buy a ticket and go? He's like, yeah, just buy a plane ticket. And I did later that day. I just went online, bought a plane ticket with no itinerary. And I've done little bit of research here and there, over the past year about like what I would want to do, where I'd want to go when I came out here. And I kind of just pushed it all to the wayside. And it's like, I'll go out, I'll just figure it out when I get out there. And this the man that rescues dogs was not on my radar at all.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting. I think you're the first volunteer that just came here and didn't follow us on social media, like, or really knew nothing about us. Like, most people follow us for years, and it's like, they're like, wow, I'm finally here. And you just came to Thailand, and I think a friend of a friend was like, hey, you got to check out the Man That Rescues Dogs Foundation.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah. Again, not on my radar at all. I hadn't heard of it, didn't look into it, and my friend and her son, her sons, they're dog people. Funnily, they're dog people over the past 6 years. They never had dogs growing up, and then her son Tom got a dog, and it was like taking all comers, getting dogs, rescuing dogs. He took in an elderly dog, just for the last few months. They became full-on dog people. Like, when I go over to their house, I send my dad videos because there's 8 dogs running around. It's wild. But it's one of the things that we've bonded on. Our love of dogs. So when I told her I was coming out here, Belle's Anne knows everybody too. She knows everybody in the world. So she's like, oh, my friend's going out there. I'll put you in touch with her. And I'm like, what? Why? I don't. Thanks. It's all right. She's like, well, she's going to a dog rescue. I was like, oh, all right, that's kind of cool. Or a dog sanctuary. I was like, that's cool. I'd be willing to go check that out. And in my head, that's what it was. Like, I was coming out here and come through. I figured, obviously, I'd volunteer for the time I'm here. I'm not going to just, in my head, I'm not going to just come and, stand around. I figured I'd help for a day, too. And I emailed you, and I said, I spoke to Carrie first, and she put me in contact with you, and I sent you an email, and I said, hey, I'll be out there these dates. I'm gonna come by for these 2 days or something, and that was all that was in my head. And when I got out here, I was blown away, like literally blown away. It was wild. The amount of dogs. Blown away by Thailand first, I should say that. I came out and I was in Bangkok, and that was overwhelming to me, being in the city. So like I was having a good time, but I was having trouble just settling. Like my nerves were high, I guess, being on the other side of the world, and I was anxious. I was anxious. I was having a good time, but anxious. So I was in Bangkok for 3 days, and then I got the ride down to here. And on my way down here was already a relief. Like, as soon as I was out of the city, I started seeing mountains and the setting. It was like relaxing. Like, I was like, oh, I can breathe. It's more, I don't know, a more comfortable setting for me.
Yeah.
And then, as I got here, and we're pulling up, and I'm seeing, the lines of kennels, and I was, wow, this is big. Like, this isn't the SPCA in Monmouth County,
Yeah, right.
It was wild. And I think I got here 9:15 or so. So it was. I think there was a walk going on. It was fairly quiet, and Carrie was showing me around, and I went over to the Wheelchair Mafia, where they were hanging out. They weren't out for a walk or anything, and that blew me away. And my initial reaction, it was heartbreak. Like, I'm like, oh no. It's hard to express, but like, it wasn't like good. It wasn't like, oh, this is the right thing, and I don't know how, like, it felt just, I've never seen so many dogs that are clearly handicapped, and, it's heartbreaking to see,
Right.
And in my head, I think there's part, like, where initially you're like, man, what should these dogs even be? Like, does it make more sense for them to be put down? And, like, what kind of life is this to be living? And it was just a couple hours later when they started putting them all in their wheelchairs, and a complete 180. Like you see life. You see these dogs absolutely living. It was cool, and from that moment on, everything has just been like so rewarding. It's so cool. It's so cool what you guys are doing. Like that, I don't know if I knew in my head, but I was like, oh, I'm not just giving 2 days here. Like, this is awesome. This could be the whole trip.
Yeah, I mean, you changed up your plan.
Yeah.
And you stayed a little extra, and that is like, you're not the first. You know, when people come, and like if you came at 9:15 and you're in there at like 10, so they've already had their morning walk, they've already eaten, and then they're kind of just like laying around, and when you walk in there and you see like 40 dogs that are paralyzed just laying there, you know, you're not the first that has felt that way. But then once, like you said, once you see them on their walks, and once you get to know them and get to know their personalities, you would never, you know, like we don't put people down that are just because they're paralyzed.
No, of course,
you know?
of course, yeah. So, no, it's funny because it's so much more obvious now looking at it. Like when I walk in there and, you know, dogs light up. Some of them still want nothing to do with me, which is of course to be expected with any group of dogs.
Yeah.
But then there's ones that like immediately, you know, they recognize you and they come up to you and they want attention, or they see you petting one dog and they're all coming up and they're, I mean, as loving and sweet as every other dog, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it is just awesome. It is so cool, like walking in there and when you see them all tearing out the doors, and some of them are lightning quick. I mean, they are just, they're dogs. They're just like when you see an older dog and he's running in the backyard having a good time, that's still your puppy, right? It's like, oh, he's still a puppy. And that's what you see with them. They're all still puppies running around mobile on their literally all-terrain wheelchairs, going up and over hills and yeah, it's
sometimes
awesome.
they go so fast. I just got to check something. Sometimes they go so fast they flip over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, we have a lot of staff on the walks. We make sure that they're you know, we can turn them back over.
Yeah,
and it's all good.
Either that or just getting caught up on another wheelchair. I mean, yeah, and there's always like it's awesome. The walks are awesome. The staff. I mean, I'll definitely get more into that. That's so impressive.
And you fed, you know, you fed the street dogs, and then yesterday, you helped bury 2 dogs, and the dog that in the afternoon, Cow, that was
yesterday or the day before.
I think
day before.
Was it the day before? Okay. Yeah. The day before yesterday, and burying him, he was a legend in the wheelchair mafia. He's been living there for over 5 years. And how crazy was it? Like, we were literally burying him right across from the care unit where he's lived for 5 years. And as we're putting flowers on his body, the care unit dogs just start howling, man. Like they were watching, like they knew, you know, like they were saying goodbye.
Yeah, it was
wild.
Wild.
Nuts. We were both out there crying. And but it's sad, but we have a lot of dogs here, you know what I mean? And nobody lives forever.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first one was I came expecting it. I knew that Saturday was going to be the funeral day. That was the dog that was put down the day that I got here. So I didn't get a chance to see that dog alive. I had only seen it, you know, when it was under the sheet, which was, you know, sad when I got here, but I guess there's a certain amount of disconnect too, where, you know, I'm there kind of half expecting that, you know, especially some of the dogs you see, you know, you see they're struggling, they're old, they're skinny, or you know, just handicapped in general. But so that was Monday. This is Saturday, and I came in anticipating that, but I didn't know what to expect of it. So when I found out that they were digging, I went over. I asked if I could help, which simple, but I was super grateful that they allowed me to help. I mean, I know it's kind of silly because people are digging a hole in hard dirt. Who's not going to accept help? But I appreciated it. And then the digging was hard. It was arduous. It's hot as hell in winter here in Thailand. But the digging process it wasn't somber. We were laughing, we were making jokes or digging, and it was just jovial. And then they brought the dog out, and I didn't expect it to kind of hit me that hard. But I guess you start thinking about all your own past dogs and just the care in general, and kind of seeing the care that the staff put into it and how much they care about what they do. You mentioned going out and feeding the dogs. When I was out there with San, it was just me and San, so I used my translator. And I asked him, do you feel good about what you do? And he was just like, yeah, just genuine, like he genuinely felt good about it. And I was like, it's awesome, because what you guys do is, it's so admirable. It's so incredible. It's what a lot of people talk about wanting to do or wish that they could do. But it's super hard. Like, it's not an easy thing to do. And obviously, life isn't easy in a lot of places you go. But to take that and then try and make life easier for these, suffering animals that we've as a species have bonded with. They're our brothers. So seeing that, after having talked to him and then seeing this at the little ceremony, it really choked me up, and it crushed me. And there were so many flowers. It was really pretty. They lowered him in super gently, and I don't remember that dog's name. We all covered it with flowers. They gave me flowers to put down, and then we buried him up, and it was brutal. I took coverage in going back and picking up garbage, just sunglasses on, teary-eyed for a couple hours, and thankfully they made a really spicy lunch, so that kind of deflected. I used all the spice that's what I'm sweating and why my face is so red. It was rough, and then that one was expected, and then I think it was like 3:15 where I was basically kind of wrapping up for the day. I felt like I was already both, physically and then somewhat emotionally drained, and I would say I probably did cry for like 2 hours, and I think that's kind of a release, where we probably don't cry as much as we should, so it's a good excuse to just kind of let out, maybe a year's worth of emotion and everything, with a good solid reasoning of why it overflows, or you don't have to question why you're crying. So that felt good. It was a good release. And then later on, they told me, like 3:15, as I was packing up, they're like, can you help us dig again? Another one passed away, and yeah, of course, and almost honored. Like, I didn't have to ask; they asked me to help, which is nice, because as a volunteer, I think you might have mentioned it, that I'm kind of not typical of volunteers. That it's usually younger women, either college women or someone out there trying to do more good in the world.
I would say statistically, the average would be like a female between 25 and 35 that's vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah, and that sounds right. But I almost take a little pride in being able to be out of that norm, because thinking that how many volunteers are picking up shovels or able to kind of do a little bit more of the grunt work. I just like being blue collar. I like being able to put a shovel in dirt. break a sweat with them felt good. But yeah, so I was happy that they asked me to come in and do that. And then, it gave me a little more idea of what to expect. But again, that each one, I guess, is going to be different. So I don't know her name on the staff, but she was definitely closest with Cal out of the people that were there.
Yeah.
She lowered him down in by herself.
Yeah, that was wild.
She was, she was super emotional, and it was really nice seeing her get comforted by the other staff too. And I mean, who knows better, right, than you guys? Who's been through it more than you guys? Everyone, I'm sure, has had, a dog that they loved more than everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here for, I think today is my 6th or 7th day on site. And I mean, I've got my favorites, already that, so I can't imagine being here and like the bond that you guys must get. And that seems wild too, that there's 760 something dogs and you can bond, with individual dogs and have these individual relationships with dogs.
Yeah.
But you can. I mean, it's apparent, and everyone does. Like you see dogs run to certain staff. You see, like, for instance, some dogs that won't go on certain walks unless the staff member is there, or your dogs are trying to avoid walks if you're not there.
Yeah.
It really is. It's special. Like, it's so cool. The staff that you guys have, that was another probably prejudicial hold off that I had, where I'm thinking in my head, how much of this is just a job or a means to get by for these people, and how much of it is, this is something that they care about doing. And from what I can see, it's way more what they can care about doing. Like,
well, I tell you this, we have 45 staff. I could be off by 1 or 2.
Which is a lot.
And it's a lot. And we have some people that are here for a month and they're gone. 3 weeks, gone. 1 day, gone. Like, if you don't love dogs, you're not going to last. So the staff that we have.
It certainly is a job that'll weed people out, right? But, but even still, like a bunch of rock stars. Everyone's so friendly, and again, little foreign for me is the sense of community in it. Like, I only worked in restaurants when I was young, when I first 14, 15, maybe 16, once more at 19, but there was always like a sense of community in the kitchen, like when everyone would eat together before, at least in like the more private restaurants, right, that only open for dinner. Like, the staff would always eat together first. I guess I always liked that, and I don't know if I realized that I like that until being out here. It's so cool. I mean, there's cooking going on all day for the dogs and for people, but the communal lunch. Also, I like just trying all different foods while I'm out here, so that's really fun. Home cooking is especially nice, but yeah, there really is a sense of community here, even as an outsider.
I definitely feel the same way. Like, when we go to the market, like, you'll see, everybody goes to the market at night. You see the same people over and over, and it's all the people that live right here. And you see the kids, and sometimes the kids are playing, like, kicking the soccer ball around, or there's just a real sense of community that I didn't quite have in New Jersey. And actually, you're from a couple towns, so you just found us, showed up. You're from a couple towns over. You're from Long Branch. And then we were talking, and we trained jiu-jitsu at the same place. Yeah. Probably at the same time. You might have been a little bit before me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So
the timelines definitely match up. I mean, we knew some of the same people, the same instructors, obviously.
Yep.
It's genuinely possible we beat each other up. I I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, even I reached out to Joe Dockery, who we both trained with, and mentioned you, and immediately he knew your name. He knew you worked at Whole Foods.
Yeah, Joe was really cool.
That was also another experience where it was like the first, maybe not the first, but maybe as an adult, like the first sense of belonging to a team. Like that was formulative for me.
All right, so yeah, as you know, I'm still figuring this shit out, and the camera stopped recording after 29 minutes, and we probably talked for another 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I was saying that TMTRD is a cleaner place and a better place since you've visited, and we really appreciate it, and we know we'll see you again.
Yeah.
And you were talking about, you had some advice.
Yeah.
An idea.
Absolutely. It was, you know, it does seem like an insurmountable task cleaning here, you know, and, you know, you are surrounded by a dump, so there's positives and negatives to that, right? That you do have all the trash to deal with, but you guys get the benefit of being completely isolated, private. You know, you've got, like you said, you've got the cemetery over there, you've got the dump here, and the abandoned warehouse facility. So you've got no neighbors to really bother. You've got the space for the dogs to run around, and they are slowly but surely clearing that dump up. So, you know, in time, that place will be more beautified and cleaner. So I definitely recommend, you know, when volunteers come, excuse me, to go on dog walks or anything, just grab a bag and maybe pick up some garbage as you go. Every little bit helps. Yeah, it does feel good to like make a visible difference. You know, you mentioned a lot of times a volunteer will come and feel like they maybe didn't do a lot. They only pet dogs, and that was certainly, you know, the first day or two that I was here, I felt like I'm not really doing anything other than, you know, interacting with the dogs. But that alone is huge. It's beneficial for the dogs. It gives them, you know, rehabilitation. So
super important.
It really is. But, you know, for me, more than anything, coming out here blind, I found coming here, finding you guys was huge for my trip. I wish that I had gotten off the plane and came right here, because it allowed me the chance to interact with Thai people in a genuine sense. There's no underlying business, you know, there's no service being offered, there's nothing touristy about it, you know. They're here to do their job, and I am just trying to not get in the way and trying to provide what little help I can. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome, the sense of community that you guys have. It really is. It's wonderful to experience, and I look forward to the rest of my trip in Thailand because of this, because of how comfortable, you know, I am after coming here. So I fully recommend anyone going anywhere, and, you know, I want to continue traveling. I want to go other places. I fully plan on coming back to Thailand, specifically to hear The Man That Rescues Dogs. You know, maybe for a longer trip, but yeah, everywhere I go now, I'm gonna try and do it the same way, where I just buy a plane ticket, and then I'm gonna try and find another place like this, be it a dog sanctuary or some other way to kind of volunteer and maybe just get a sense of the community and the country before, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Great way to start any trip.
Yeah, and I just stumbled into that here. It's not like I didn't come here with any altruistic plans, or, you know, I didn't come here with any selfless, you know, I just stumbled into it. But I'm so grateful I did, and thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity. Like, well, really appreciate it.
We're grateful you stumbled into.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again for sure.
Awesome.
You know? Cool. All right, hopefully that
recorded,
and I'm gonna have to Google that. Like, why does the lumen